Back with another trade recap. Today is Monday, June 29th. Had a green day, was one and done on today. I started off the week strong last week and then just went downhill. The week was very choppy, very difficult to trade, very difficult to get a good read on the market. And I definitely overtraded given the conditions. And that caused me to stack up some losses and give back the wins from the early green day that I had last Monday. So today I'm really just focused on, following my rules, having better discipline, avoiding chop, being willing to just walk away or stay flat if there are no setups, and only focus on A trade positions, A plus positions, just to rebuild my confidence and add some more cushion in my account and just kind of get back on track. So by the way, this is a journal tool that I vibe coded, and I've just been using it to see if it can help improve trading, and I may open it up or open source it or something at some point, but for now I'm just running it locally. But you can see here on the discipline, I have it tracking a few different rules and just evaluating my discipline and helping keep me accountable and keep me honest. So the only one I broke today was a pre-7 a.m. entry. This is because after examining all of my trades, most of my wins tend to come after 7 a.m. I don't think this is a hard, explicit 7 a.m. rule. I think it's more of a caution that if I'm entering before 7 a.m., I need to be just more careful, more cautious, make sure the market has confirmed a direction and the trade is solid. I entered today at 6:50, so very close to 7 a.m. And I'll get more into the trade and what the market was showing in a second. But yeah, the outcome was a lot better today, and I just kind of left it at that. So I only took one trade on Intel. I went short. I got puts on a break below the previous day low. But before I jump into Intel, I want to look at the market and just kind of see what I was looking at on the market as well, because this is something that caused me to take some losses last week where I was just on the wrong side of the market, or really not even that. It was just a choppy market. We had MU earnings last week. We had GDP, some other economic data come out, and the market just wasn't really moving outside of those, just no catalyst. And you can see here, we're pretty much right back in the channel. I'll go over to a bigger chart in a second, but I always keep these four charts open when I'm trading. Keep the SPY, the QQQ, and then the ES and NASDAQ futures. And so if I look at the bigger chart, SPY was the cleanest as far as levels today. So you can see last week we ended the week in this channel, basically between, call it 730 and 740, just up and down, chop. Yeah, just terrible trading conditions. And I'm sure a lot of traders probably took losses in these conditions, and I should have downsized and just probably not traded through all of this. But you can see here you have a very clear resistance right at 740. And today we pushed right into that resistance and then rejected it, came right back down to the demand, bounced off of that, and then now we're right back going up into that. The rest of the market, the ES and NQ, was a little less clear to me. And so there was a little discrepancy on my charts. If you look at, if I go into the 5-minute chart in a second. So that made it a little bit harder to read here. So you can see the SPY level rejected almost exactly. The rest of the market indicators were a little harder to read. So that just told me to just be a little more cautious and downsize as I was going into trades today. But then let's flip over and look at Intel, and we can see why I got interested in Intel. So you can see here on the 1-hour chart, Intel was also kind of in a channel last week, but you had a very clear demand setting up right here around 125, and we held that all throughout the end of the week last week. And then this morning we came in and we fell underneath that previous demand and we turned that into support, or sorry, a rejection. And so if I go over here and we look at Intel, in the pre-market, we failed below this zone here. This was previously demand. And then we got below it, pushed back into it on lower volume. You can see the volume decreasing here as we pulled back up into it. So then we had multiple indicators stacked up that acted as resistance here. So we had the previous day low, which stacked up with the overnight low, which then stacked up with the 9 EMA and the VWAP. And so as we pulled back into that, I got interested in seeing if we would reject that and then move lower down into the next demand zone. And that's exactly what happened. I entered a little bit early on this. I probably could have waited, another minute or two, but it's hard to time these things exactly. But I got into the trade and I had a little bit of drawdown, but we eventually broke below this low on the day. And then once we broke that, pretty aggressively moved down. You can see the volume come in on this candle right around 955. And then we went down right into the this demand here at the daily 20 moving average and this demand zone down here. And that was my target. And so I scaled out into this move and then I think I sold the last contract down here. The runners went up to over 80% on this. So this ended up being a nice clean trade to start the day and start the week. And again, just given how I ended last week, I just decided to stop here and not trade. If I wanted to get more aggressive, I could have taken this long out of this demand, and that would have been an even bigger trade. You can see we're still moving higher off of that demand, and the market is also has bounced off of that demand and is moving higher. So let's go back to the journal, and you can see here. I gave myself an A- on this one, or actually the AI gave me an A- on this trade. I agree with that. I think, maybe the timing could have been a little bit better, but overall, I think this was a pretty good trade, pretty nice way to start the week, and just kind of, rebuild some confidence and just, take it easy. So that was the only trade I took today. I just wanted to give that quick recap, and we'll be back at the next one.